Porsche hybrid supercar. A tour of a custom car builder's garage where he has some crazy creations and movie cars galore. All that and more ahead on the SST Car Show. SST is brought to you by Stark Auto Sales, home of the ultimate worldwide scratch and dent car sale. Hey friends, I'm Rick Walker. Welcome to another edition of the SST Car Show. In a shameless effort to build ratings, especially among our canine viewers, we're introducing a new co-host to the program, Shelby, named after race car legend Carroll Shelby, who has appeared on this program in the past. She'll have more to say later in the program. We have a lot to share with you today, though. We're going to show you the Porsche 918 Super Sports Car. It's a hybrid, and the performance of this vehicle is going to blow you away. We'll also show you some of the most famous movie cars in the world. But first, here's Mike Klein's 1956 Buick Special Custom. We found this car in Syracuse, New York. Maggie Yule did the interview with Mike, and he tells us that this vehicle has been featured on television in a number of hot rod magazines and most recently in a movie called Gasser.
If you're looking for time travel by car, you just found it in this 1956 Buick Special. What was the inspiration for it?
Being an old man right now, back in the 60s when I was growing up, I was building car models from Big Daddy Ed Roth, and I just wanted to do something that stood out from all the other cars wherever I go. On the roof, you'll find things like lace tablecloths that they put on, and that's how they used to do it 50 years ago, and tried to make it old school.
All the patterns and airbrushing and strokes, they're all so perplexing. Where did you find the materials for the inside?
Online. I just search and search and search. Boat materials, it's all old school stuff. Some of it new old stock.
Tell me about the engine.
The engine's a 383 stroker, built by United Racing Engines in Arizona. It's 558 horsepower. I have 323 gears, which means I can drive wherever. If I put some steep gears in, this thing is extremely fast.
And not only is it cool to own a car like this, but it's cool to drive it. I'm noticing something kind of funny about the suspension in the front. What's so funny about that?
Front axle, no shocks. So when you drive and you feel it, it's a real ride. But I've done many 150, 200 mile runs on it, and I don't trailer it.
Do you have a name for the car?
The Gasser. This was in Old School Rods as a feature car. It's been in TV commercials in Albany, New York, where I live, for last Halloween. It's in a upcoming independent movie called Gasser, along with one of my other cars. It's just, it stands out.
Okay, now if you can describe this in one word, what would you call it?
Crazy.
There you have it. It's crazy. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey friends, welcome back to the SST Car Show. Off we go to Detroit again, the Motor City, where our tour of this year's movie car exhibit at the Eyes on Design Car Show continues. Get back up in the front. Come here. Come on. Back in the 1950s, Superman was a big hit on TV. But to keep up with Superman, Lois Lane drove around in this Nash Rambler.
One look at the white stripe on this car, and there's no mistaking it for the Starsky and Hutch Gran Torino.
This car started out as a Pontiac GTO, but the guy who designed the Batmobile, George Barris, turned it into the Monkees car, and it became as big a star on the Monkees show as the band itself.
Steve McQueen drove this Mustang in the 1968 film Bullitt.
When Walt Disney turned this car into a living thing, it became Herbie the Love Bug.
In the 1980s, a popular series called The A-Team made this GMC van a pop culture icon.
This is another George Barris creation, the Black Beauty, from the TV series The Green Hornet. Don't go away. When we come back, Shelby and I will have more from the Eyes on Design Car Show, where our tour of the movie car exhibit will continue.
Hi, I'm Brittany. There's more SST coming up.
Steve Plunkett presents the Fleetwood Country Cruise-In, featuring 100 years of Dodge and Canada's Dukes of Hazzard cast reunion. Meet Tom Wopat, John Schneider, Rick Hurst, Sonny Schroyer, General Lee mechanic Tom Sarmenta, and other celebrities like George Barris, Linda Vaughn, Courtney Hanson, Gene Winfield, and Dennis Gage. See square dancing tractors, over 4,000 vintage cars, and dozens of General Lees. June 6th and 7th, 9282 Elviage Drive, London, Ontario. Visit FleetwoodCountryCruisin.com for more info on an automotive extravaganza like no other. Automotive artist Michael Irvin presents his latest high-powered paintings. Michael's signature use of reflections pays a unique tribute to classic and current Camaros in Blast by the Past. Signed limited edition prints, artist proofs, large canvases. View the online gallery and purchase at michaelirvin.com or call toll-free 1-800-361-5484. Free worldwide shipping. Own a piece of the powerful, surreal world of automotive artist Michael Irvin. Looking for a better way to buy a car? Stark Auto Sales holds insurance recovery auctions every Monday. SUVs, minivans, cars, trucks, motorcycles, even exotic sports cars. Thousands of vehicles in stock. Some are rebuildable wrecks, some just parts cars. Others are damage-free theft recoveries. You can save a lot of money bidding in person or online. Stark ships worldwide. If you're looking for a better way to buy a car, stop by the next Monday auction at 119 Union Street, Toronto, or visit starkautosales.com.
The Southern Ontario Military Muster. See war reenactments, weapons demonstrations, vintage military vehicles. Honor the World War II veterans with a Veterans Parade marking the anniversary of VE Day, and the Portraits of Honor display paying tribute to Afghan vets. Tour the trenches, and don't miss this year's new attraction, the Supermodels America Vintage Fashion Show. The Southern Ontario Military Muster, June 13th and 14th at the Essex Sports Complex Arena and Grounds in Essex, Ontario. Visit militarymuster.ca.
Turn back the hands of time with Antique Chevrolet Parts. Since 1971, we've been sourcing parts from around the world to help you restore and maintain antique Chevs. Nose to tail fins, we have your parts. Call us toll-free at 1-866-767-2787. Get help from a real person or go to antiquechev.com. Download a catalog, order online, delivered to your front door. Antique Chev, helping you turn back the hands of time.
Automotive artist Michael Irvin presents his latest high-powered paintings. Winter's setting sun casts long blue shadows, camouflaging Shelbys in pure as the driven snow. Signed limited edition prints, artist proofs, large canvases. View the online gallery and purchase at michaelirvin.com or call toll-free 1-800-361-5484. Free worldwide shipping. Own a piece of the powerful, surreal world of automotive artist Michael Irvin. Steve Plunkett presents the Fleetwood Country Cruise-In, featuring 100 years of Dodge and Canada's Dukes of Hazzard cast reunion. Meet Tom Wopat, John Schneider, Rick Hurst, Sonny Schroyer, General Lee mechanic Tom Sarmenta, and other celebrities like George Barris, Linda Vaughn, Courtney Hanson, Gene Winfield, and Dennis Gage. See square dancing tractors, over 4,000 vintage cars, and dozens of General Lees. June 6th and 7th, 9282 Elviage Drive, London, Ontario. Visit FleetwoodCountryCruisin.com for more info on an automotive extravaganza like no other. Welcome back to the SST Car Show. Off we go again to Detroit, the Motor City, where our tour of the movie car exhibit at the Eyes on Design Car Show continues. Ron Howard and Cindy Williams made this 1958 Chevy Impala famous in the 1970s hit American Graffiti.
Hundreds of Chargers like this were destroyed in the 1970s hit TV show Dukes of Hazzard. Luckily, this one beside me survived.
This Winton Flyer took center stage with Steve McQueen in the movie The Reavers.
This Whoville sedan from The Grinch Who Stole Christmas sold at an auction for over $38,000. This Hannibal 8 behind me starred in the 1964 film The Great Race. This Trans Am became famous in the 1970s in the hit film Smokey and the Bandit.
From the movie cars of yesteryear, we take a look at, well, not just the future, but, well, the future is now in the 918 Porsche supercar. This thing is a hybrid, and the performance is going to blow you away. Check it out. When it comes to the style of the Porsche 911, the cliche, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, couldn't be more appropriate. However, when it comes to the technology being used in the 911 Targa, Porsche is definitely moving in different directions. The new 911 Targa has a power drop top that makes the switch to wind-in-your-hair motoring effortless.
Can you tell me a little bit about this model that is so much better than all the former models?
Now you can open and close the roof automatically with the push of the button.
The latest generation of the extravagant 911 combines the classic Targa concept with innovative roof technology, which features the fixed Targa bar in place of the B-pillar and wraparound rear window.
The basic operation is made in an electric hydraulic way.
Fits together beautifully like a puzzle.
The fully automatic power roof is a welcome and exciting move forward for Porsche enthusiasts. The 911 Targa 4 is powered by a 3.4-liter flat engine offering an output of 350 horsepower. The S model features a 3.8-liter flat engine with an output of 400 horsepower. These are not the air-cooled power plants of yesteryear. They are more modern, refined power plants. This new 911 is being offered as a remake of the classic 1965 Targa. The lines, the wide rear end, they are all unmistakably 911. The Targa bar is not only a distinct 911 characteristic, it is also functional. It is constructed from steel on the inside to offer rollover protection, but has aluminum accented trim on the outside. The low slung profile and low center of gravity give the 911 road holding abilities that are further enhanced with all-wheel drive and a traction management system. The rear engine configuration is also classic 911. Performance is nothing without a solid platform, though. The chassis of the new Targa models comes largely from the 911 Carrera all-wheel drive models. The 911 may pay tribute to its 1965 roots, but this car looks too modern to be called retro, only because it is more fitting to describe it as timeless. Don't go away. When we come back, Shelby and I are going to take you on a tour of Tom Payne's garage. Tom is a custom car builder extraordinaire who lives just down the road from me in Blenheim, Ontario. Stay with us.
Don't touch that dial. We have more SST coming your way.
Looking for a better way to buy a car? Stark Auto Sales holds insurance recovery auctions every Monday. SUVs, minivans, cars, trucks, motorcycles, even exotic sports cars. Thousands of vehicles in stock. Some are rebuildable wrecks, some just parts cars. Others are damage-free theft recoveries. You can save a lot of money bidding in person or online. Stark ships worldwide. If you're looking for a better way to buy a car, stop by the next Monday auction at 119 Union Street, Toronto, or visit starkautosales.com.
The Southern Ontario Military Muster. See war reenactments, weapons demonstrations, vintage military vehicles. Honor the World War II veterans with a Veterans Parade marking the anniversary of VE Day, and the Portraits of Honor display paying tribute to Afghan vets. Tour the trenches, and don't miss this year's new attraction, the Supermodels America Vintage Fashion Show. The Southern Ontario Military Muster, June 13th and 14th at the Essex Sports Complex Arena and Grounds in Essex, Ontario. Visit militarymuster.ca.
Steve Plunkett presents the Fleetwood Country Cruise-In, featuring 100 years of Dog and Canada's Dukes of Hazzard cast reunion. Meet Tom Wopat, John Schneider, Rick Hurst, Sonny Schroyer, General Lee mechanic Tom Sarmenta, and other celebrities like George Barris, Linda Vaughn, Courtney Hanson, Gene Winfield, and Dennis Gage. See Square Dancing Tractors, over 4,000 vintage cars, and dozens of General Lees. June 6th and 7th, 9282 Elviage Drive, London, Ontario. Visit FleetwoodCountryCruisin.com for more info on an automotive extravaganza like no other. Automotive artist Michael Irvin presents his latest high-powered paintings. Roadrunners, Birdseed, and the reflection of Wile E. Coyote all give a nod to the classic cartoon in Beep Beep. Signed limited edition prints, artist proofs, large canvases. View the online gallery and purchase at michaelirvin.com or call toll-free 1-800-361-5484. Free worldwide shipping. Own a piece of the powerful, surreal world of automotive artist Michael Irvin.
The Southern Ontario Military Muster. See war reenactments, weapons demonstrations, vintage military vehicles. Honor the World War II veterans with a Veterans Parade marking the anniversary of VE Day, and the Portraits of Honor display paying tribute to Afghan vets. Tour the trenches, and don't miss this year's new attraction, the Supermodels America Vintage Fashion Show. The Southern Ontario Military Muster, June 13th and 14th at the Essex Sports Complex Arena and Grounds in Essex, Ontario. Visit militarymuster.ca.
Maverick Multimedia. We produce TV commercials and negotiate best possible airtime rates for our clients. We build custom websites with original photography and graphic design, not stock photos, and offer cost-effective search engine optimization plans that generate response. Real people serving clients across North America, getting you real results. Call 1-866-248-1490. Maverick Multimedia Incorporated. Way better marketing solutions. Looking for a better way to buy a car? Stark Auto Sales holds insurance recovery auctions every Monday. SUVs, minivans, cars, trucks, motorcycles, even exotic sports cars. Thousands of vehicles in stock. Some are rebuildable wrecks, some just parts cars. Others are damage-free theft recoveries. You can save a lot of money bidding in person or online. Stark ships worldwide. If you're looking for a better way to buy a car, stop by the next Monday auction at 119 Union Street, Toronto, or visit starkautosales.com. Hey friends, welcome back to the SST Car Show. Good friend of mine, Tom Payne, takes old cars and turns them into something special. He's a custom car builder, an artist. He takes a look at a car, he sees new lines in it, and then he creates these things. They're amazing. We went on a tour of his garage in Blenheim, Ontario.
Well, hi, I'm Tom Payne from Blenheim, a carpenter in this town. Rick asked me to do a little tour of my cars, so here we go. We'll start off with this Camaro. It's a 1980 Camaro, and for 11 years they didn't make any convertibles. So one of my tenants owed me some money, and he said, will you take this car in on trade? So I ended up taking this car thinking, what could I do with it? So what I ended up doing was putting a full frame under it. And since there was no convertibles for so many years, I thought I would make my own. So what I did was I chopped the roof off after I put the frame in it, finished off all the detail as far as what I had to chop, and I actually do have a roof for this. It's hanging in my shop right now on the ceiling. It made a very unique car, and everyone stops me now. And I went to Chatham one day, Taco Bell, and this gentleman comes running in saying, who owns the yellow Camaro? I put up my hand, it's me, and he says, I'm the president of a Camaro club in Michigan. I've never seen a convertible ever before. He said, would you mind if I get some pictures of it for their Facebook? And so they ended up taking a bunch of pictures of it. I drove a little further, and another guy stopped me on the road, just waved me down saying, oh, could I get some pictures of this car? So apparently some people know that there isn't any convertibles made, and so they appreciate it. Now this is a a Corvette, and I've found with the Corvettes, I've owned many of them, and they're pretty well, these years are almost a dime a dozen anymore. So I thought I would do something a little different with this one. I ended up so I put the Lambo doors on first just to give it a little different appeal. But with the Lambo doors, I chopped the back off, a lot of it, and made the air induction, give us a real wide stance. I like the Solstice, Pontiac Solstice always look, so I ended up doing the Solstice look on it. Then I thought, I'm going to do a little reverse one in the center of it. So between the whole thing, I made a very wide stance. It's funny how people from the back, and they see it, and all of a sudden they say, oh, is that a Viper? I said, no, this is just a custom Corvette. It's just, again, makes something a little different, and I put a lot of ghost flames on it, very subtle ghost flames, so you can see it in the right light. You can see the flames. If it's in the other light, you can't. Now we're going to shift to this one. I've had completed for 25 years. My wife drove into a job site once where we were doing a roof. We're up on top of this guy's roof, and I looked down. She had this 74 Pontiac Laurentian. I seen that line in the roof right there. And I told my men, I said, I'm going to make a car out of that. And they all laughed about it. But that week I went and bought my wife a new car and brought that one in and started chopping. And I chopped it up and made my own design of a body. Everyone stops me now and say, what is that? And especially the older people that had cars like this in that era, they keep saying, we're trying to figure out what year that is. And I said, it's a 74 Pontiac. And they said, no way, it's not a 74. But it's my 74, and my daughter, over the years, we've always went for a Saturday night cruise, and I had 3 different cars to always choose from, and I always asked my daughters, what car do you want to go for a cruise on Saturday night with? And they always said, Dad, let's take the homemade car. So that's what we call it now, it's just the homemade car. Now this is my final one. This is the one I like the most. It's the most fun of any. It's 1979 Spirit, and what I did with this one is I ended up buying 2 of them, and I never realized when I bought this one, my neighbor right across the street here had another one in his yard that was just sitting there for many years, and ended up buying it. So this one had a lot of graphics, a lot of taping, and I was telling people before, just that back graphics on that one was 14 hours of taping for about 5 minutes of painting. Oh, also on this one, I added all these lines to it just by welding in small strips of metal. It's just giving it a different look, and then I had a lot of metal left over. And so I ended up forming all the different air induction just to give some air into the V8 on that one, keep her cool. Yeah, this one had a 4-cylinder in it, and I always liked the Chevy with the Muncie, so I ended up putting a 350 Chevy in this one with a 4-speed Muncie. There was a lot of work getting this one to fit in, mostly with they ended up with the steering column. The headers had to be wrapped around the steering column. So when I was lowering this motor in, I kept lowering the motor in, trying to get the steering column to go through everything by myself always, and it made quite a unique challenge. But I think one night I had that engine in and out 5 times before I got the motor mounts and everything fitted. It's just a really fun car to drive, and it handles so well. But I do enjoy the cars, and so I keep joking to everyone, saying I hope someday that Jay Leno will catch wind that I make these unique cars and hire me to do a car for him where money was no object, there was no budget, and let me just do a car that would just stand out beyond everyone's imagination.
Folks, times they are a-changing, and that became very apparent to me when I recently did some work on this Corvette. We had to put an alternator on it, and in the course of doing that work, I discovered some things that you need to go and buy to do just basic repairs in your old cars these days. Well, in some cases, they're just disappearing. Case in point, nuts and bolts. Loose nuts and bolts. That's like a staple item at a hardware store, right? Not so much anymore. So today we're working on the SST Corvette, and we're putting a new alternator on the car. And there are a couple of things I'd like to talk about. First of all, they made about 1 million, literally about 1 million of these 350 cubic inch V8 engines for Chevrolets. Some went into Corvettes, others into Chevy Malibus. They put them in all kinds of different General Motors products. It's one of the the biggest mass production engines in the history of motoring. And yet today, when you go to buy one of these, it's actually becoming more difficult to find them. You can buy them on the internet, but if you try to find one at the local auto recycling yard, chances are they won't have one. If you try to find new old stock, well, that's drying up as well. What we did end up buying is one of these aftermarket chrome alternators, which does work. It's a little bit more money than a rebuilt unit, but of course it's all chromed up, and a lot of guys have been buying those, and they basically bolt on the way that the original stock alternators bolt on. But then I ran into something that really made me realize the times are changing. Some of the bolts on this alternator are not exactly the same as the bolts on the aftermarket unit. So I had to go down to the local hardware store. And of course, every hardware store under the sun sells these things, nuts and bolts, loose, and you get them out of bins. It's just, I guess, a ritual when you go to a hardware store. But then the sales attendant told me while I was there, she said that they're going to stop stocking loose nuts and bolts, which just completely blew me away. I noticed that the inventory was low. The two that I actually needed for this alternator, I got the last two in the whole store. Now, I don't know if Canadian Tire is implementing a chain-wide policy whereby they are not going to start, or they're not going to stock loose nuts and bolts anymore, and loose screws, loose wood screws, loose stainless steel screws. But at this store in my hometown, that is the case. So now if I want loose nuts and bolts, onesies and twosies, that you put into a bag and you mark what the code number is and the price on the bag, I'm going to have to go to another hardware store. Why? Well, it's because Canadian Tire, at least locally, they're focused on big box items. They want to sell refrigerators and all kinds of gadgets and widgets and all the stuff that you see advertised on TV and those infomercials, and they want to sell it in big volume. And I guess the good old traditional hardware store is just about a thing of the past, which honestly makes me want to cry. I want loose. Well, friends, that's all we have time for today. Shelby and I, we got a motor. So until next time, I'm Rick Walker reminding you, when you can't get to the car show, we'll bring the car show to you. Catch you next time right here on the next edition of the SST Car Show.
Multimedia production.